What is going on, guys? Tuesday night, so that means we are live and have a great group of panelists like we do every week discussing some of the hottest headlines within comic book news. Not going to waste any time. Going to start bringing these guys in. The first panelist you know from CBSI, comicbookinvest.com, in the Spotlight series, Mr. Andy Tomberlin. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's up, buddy? Glad to be here. Back after a week off and ready to shoot the breeze a little bit.
I can tell you can hardly contain your excitement for us.
You know it.
Next one we got, he's got another YouTube channel himself, Dank Comics. Let's welcome Dan into the show.
What's up, everyone? I'm Dan from Dank Comics, and yeah, it's been a fun week. I just hung out with a friend who told me she's like gonna be an artist. She was a banker. She's gonna try to be an artist. It's very exciting to hear.
I was gonna say comments. I'll leave that alone because it might be off mark. But and it's not. I just made it worse by saying that. But anyways, the next person we're bringing in, you guys know him. He's also the background producer of the show. He has a YouTube channel. He's also selling on Whatnot right now, and we have El Beardo Jefe himself, Comic Man Andy.
What is good, y'all? Dan, good to see you, brother. Did you tell her to bank on that?
Oh, she's got a lot of money saved up, so
I'm excited to be back. This is gonna be a great week. Great news to go over, and we got a great guest, right?
We do have a great guest. You guys might know him, friends of the channel. If you're a Patreon member, you definitely know him because that bounty box is full of exclusive variants from this next guest. And we are talking about John from the 616 Comics. Great to have you here, buddy.
Guys, how's it going?
So, yes, great to introduce the viewers. We have a couple videos up on the channel with John. Full disclosure, Simple Man's Comics, and we partner with the 616 for some great exclusives. Since then, he's carried the torch and has been putting out banger after banger. I am proud to have you as a channel sponsor, and the Patreon members are often commenting on all that fire that goes into that Patreon box. So thank you for that.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me, bro. I really appreciate it, brother.
But like we said, we have some great content to get in tonight, and we're going to start with the first topic. Marvel, you guys might know, cards are hot right now. Baseball cards, comic cards. We heard a lot of people talking about those Impel cards, but that 1992 Marvel Masterpieces Joe Jusko set is phenomenal. Marvel is taking those cards and making them variants in the month of October coming up. What do you guys think about this? I'm super excited for it. I cross over trading cards, comics, collected a lot more cards when I was a kid, started getting back into that hobby, and Marvel Masterpieces is one of those iconic collections. I think a lot of people are going to like this for this nostalgia factor alone. Oh, Beardo.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I can't wait to see this come down because I remember buying these cards quite a bit when I was a kid. I'm just kind of sad that I haven't seen the Punisher one yet. I got to look. Hopefully there's one of those coming out. That's one I'm going to have to buy on pre-order, get that one slabbed, or get it pre-ordered as a slab.
Yeah, I remember a year or two ago they had the Joe Jusko, remember the box art variants? The corner box variants, those are really cool, and they make covers of those. But I know, Andy Tomlin, you're probably not much of a card collector, but you got to be a Joe Jusko fan, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes, but I like this for the nostalgia play, you know? I mean, I know I did, collected these cards back in the day, and I think that's what they're going after here. They're looking for the type of people that did and know that it'll be a hit, and I think it'll work out well. I got to go back and check and see if I've got any of these, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some other, especially some indie publishers doing some like trading card type variant covers. John 616, you had your own Miles Morales trading card cover. It seems like Marvel's taking notice and saying, hey, trading cards are hot. We got the National Card Show coming up just within the next week, and they're like, hey, not so fast. But Dan, what do you think about this? I know you probably collected some of this as a kid, right?
Yeah, I definitely had a lot of these cards back in the day. And I think nowadays with a lot of Virgin variants and Virgin covers and stuff, like people do a lot of cover buys. But in the 90s, you didn't really do cover buys, you know? So like in the 90s, these cards were sort of our cover buys. They were a way to just showcase the art very minimally. And these cards represented a lot of that and a lot of why we wanted the cards, really, because it wasn't collectible. We weren't going to make money off of them back in the day. And but now we have cover buys, right? But yeah, it just brings you back and kind of reminds you of like what used to be the cover buy back in the day, I think.
John, I'm interested to get your take on this, not only from a collector, because you're also a huge collector. We've heard your story on here, but from the retailer side, do you think this is a smart move on Marvel? And what are your thoughts?
1000%. Sometimes I'm wondering, like, what is the publisher thinking with this variant line? But not,
Yes,
yeah, like sometimes I'm like, man, someone in the room should have said, hey, this is not the best idea. We can do better. I was talking to a retail partner today, and that was our whole conversation was in the exclusive variant game. It's tough. It's ultra competitive, and we just have to be better. We have to get covers that have an edge. So sometimes we'll get cover art back, and it's like good, but it's not great. So for someone to shell out $30, $40 for an exclusive variant, it has to be great. It has to tip over the edge, right? So someone could look at a great exclusive variant and go, yeah, that's pretty good, but something has to move it over the edge. So with a lot of the Marvel, like these B cover variant series, I feel like a lot of them are just ideas someone had that said, hey, let's do this. And then they go ahead and do it. This seems very intentional. It's a response to the market, to the card market. And also, like, I didn't collect any of these cards, but I'm a gigantic Joe Jusko fan. So I will probably, and to be honest, ever since we started selling comics on a weekly basis, I do not collect 10% of what I used to collect on a weekly basis before we started this business, just because it's overwhelming. I am going to get pretty much every single one of these. And especially this, I don't know if we're going to show, but that Psylocke cover, man.
Yeah.
Wow. That and the Hobgoblin cover.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of the covers up right now. And also from a retailer perspective, John, do you look at something like this coming up and then go, hey, I'm going to back off doing any exclusive variants because I don't want to compete with these type of covers? Or does that go into your decision-making at all?
No, not really. I mean, I would look at trying to put together like mini sets. I wouldn't put together a mega set for this and then offer that for sale because that's a huge amount of work. But what I'm going to do for retailers, I'm going to look at what releases each week and then try to put together. I do everything based on what I like. Like, that's the greatest thing about having your own business. You're not constrained by anyone else's decisions. I consult with my wife and some retail partners. So every single week, I'm going to look at what's on FOC, what's releasing at the same time, and then I'm going to put micro sets together, 2, 3, 4 books at a time and offer them out for sale. And it's going to be based on what I like, what I think is appealing to me.
Yeah. I also want to give a big shout out in the chat. Another friend of the channel, Burke Family 54 Comics with the super chat. Thank you so much for that. He's also had the great reveal for that 616 Moon Knight variant. We're going to talk a little bit about that later, though, aren't we, John?
I hope so. I love that cover. I'll talk later. I was just about to say something about it.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about that launch.
It's like the old Rocky Lipton commercial. Save some for the sequel.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, let us know in the chat. Are you guys going to be picking up these Joe Jusko variants? And if you're watching this on replay, comment, let us know. I'm personally super excited about this. And that's the point of FOC and previews. By a lot of times you pre-order those books, you get that little bit of discount. And check with retailers. Like you just heard, John said that he's going to put together micro sets. I'm sure there's going to be some retailers out there that will put together full sets. So make sure you guys are on the lookout for that. But Dan, we also had some other big news coming out of Boom Studios this week, right?
Yes, the House of Slaughter series has been announced. It's a spin-off series coming out of Something is Killing the Children, which will sort of be, I think, an anthology that goes over the history of how the House of Slaughter was founded, or the House of St. George or whatever. And yeah, I mean, we got a taste of that story in the original series, but I guess this series is happening, and they're going to be co-working with other artists and writers. So James Tynion and Werther Dell'Ederna. I'm sorry, I can't say his name. They're working with
someone else that messes up names on this video.
All right.
They're working with Tate Bromble and Chris Sheehan, who are going to do writing and art too. So I'm not sure how that works exactly, but they're probably going to be handing off certain duties so they can work on the full first series. and have a backup team kind of working on the second series and building out this world.
Yeah, so that's coming up, and we do have the covers for issue number 1, right? But there's also a free comic book day version that's coming up August 14th, but it's hitting retailers, pretty before that. And I don't know what you guys' thoughts are, but I want to get your thoughts on this. We're seeing copies on eBay for a free comic book day edition that's supposed to be free. Now, when I say free, don't think that retailers get it free. Also, retailers have to pay for that book, but it's supposed to be given out free on free comic book day. But we're seeing copies on eBay, and I'm not saying it's retailers doing it, but we're seeing copies already listed for what, $50-$60?
Yep. I don't know. Truth be told, I've probably overpaid for one of those already on eBay. Not in the $20 to $30 range, but I mean, I think it's just the fact that I know the two shops. Yeah, 100% FOMO. But there's going to be something decent in there, I believe, from what we've heard. A first appearance of a character that could or could not be big. So what? Do you pay the $10 now or wait till it's 70 and then try and figure it out from there? I don't know. I see a lot of potential in this, just the world, here that they're building with Tynan. So I don't know. I'm a big believer. I'm still holding a lot of my stuff for that series. There's a lot of good books. I like number 11, the first Old Dragon. That was one of my picks on the Spec 10, and Maxine.
Now, you say Spec 10, where was that? Where was that at?
Modern Playbook over on Tales from the Flip Side. And it's also premiering on the Key Collector app every Tuesday. So, yeah, it's there's a lot of plays here, is all I'll say.
You brought up a good point, and I'm sorry to digress for a second. John, I want to get your and Beardo's take also, but you brought a good point about that free comic book day edition and if there's a first appearance in there. But we also just got word that Basilisk, right, that second printing that's coming out, is going to have a preview for House of Slaughter. Wonder if there's going to be any information in that, if there's going to be a first appearance or not.
It's already out. That one came out.
It came out
3 weeks ago. So it's there. I've got a couple copies on the way. I have not actually looked into it to see how far that one goes, but I don't think it's the same thing as what the free comic book day one is going to be. So, I don't know. I've still got some research to do on that end, but I'm gonna hedge my bets and probably pick up both of them where I have. So
now, would you pick up Basilisk second print just for Basilisk second print, or would you be one that's like, hey, it's got a House of Slaughter preview in it, that's what's gonna make me buy it?
Both. I tried to get the book early on, and I don't remember what happened, but either got canceled or whatnot. I can't remember. But I like it for both. I feel like it's a good bet either way, because Basilisk definitely got better with issue 2 and showed a lot more potential. I
loved issue 1. I think that's a great series, and I think there's great parallels there, because I've often said, reading that first issue, I kind of got, back in the day, I wouldn't say, oh, it's the next Walking Dead, but when I read the first issue, I got something is killing the children vibe from it. But taking the free comic book day, taking the second print, John, what's your opinion on, are you going to sell free comic book day editions?
Yeah, but not for that much. I did order some. I'm not sure which palette it's on. Like we were talking before the show started, I'm just having crazy problems getting my books in. So, it's stuff that's totally out of my control. But yeah, I never try to, and I've had discussions with other retailers about this. I try to be very fair in my pricing. I don't try to get top dollar ever. I'm not trying to be the top seller anywhere. I want to be somewhere that's fair, somewhere in the middle of the market range. So what I normally do is I'll look at like sold eBay listings to get the current feel of the market, because I feel like there's no better comic book marketplace on earth than the sold eBay listings. Like people will offer up stuff for just ridiculous prices. And then other retailers will contact me and they'll be like, hey, one of your books is selling for $120. And I'm like, no, that's what some lunatic is listing it for. It actually last sold was for 70. Like you're not going to get that price at volume. So as a retailer, I want to offer I want to kind of be in the middle of the market, because I need to move volume. I don't have like 3 copies of this book. If I only had 3 copies, then I would, maybe try to maximize my potential. If I wasn't a comic book retailer, I would try to do that if it was a part-time thing. But I want to try to be in the middle of the market. I want to treat my customers fair because I want them to come back. I don't want them to feel like they got taken advantage of. So I want to price it fairly. And then I'm going to keep some for me because that's always fun too.
What about your Patreon?
Oh, Patreon, man, they get hooked up. Yeah. I usually take whatever like the current market rate is, and then I'll take a third off, usually 20% up to 30, 40% off, sometimes more. Yeah, my Patreon people, I look at that as like my close-knit comic family. And I try to reward them no matter what tier they're on. We have 3 tiers, but like no matter where they're at, I try to hook them up.
Where can people find your Patreon?
Patreon.com/the616comics. Our top 2 tiers, I think, are sold out now. I know the top tier has been sold out for a long time. But we have a middle tier that I might expand a little bit. That was limited to 50, and I think that just sold out. And then we have a bottom tier that's unlimited, but that's like $3 a month. You get coupon codes and, access to our like 1 per store variants every week and things like that. So.
Yeah, so you got to check it out, patreon.com, D616 Comics. While you're there, check out patreon.com, Simple Man's Comics.
Yeah, right?
El Beardo.
For sure.
Hold on. I'm about to cancel my Simpleman's Comics Patreon and swap it over to 616. I'm really, really, really excited for this because of the way they're approaching this. The House of Slaughter Free Comic Book Day it's the other side of the phone conversation that Erica has during the several first issues. So I'm really interested to see how that plays out. I'm definitely waiting for the dip in the market on the Free Comic Book Day book, right? We all know a lot of these books hit big highs on pre-releases or pre-orders. And then that Wednesday, that Thursday morning, that Thursday night, there's going to be a heavy dip on large print run items. I'm anticipating a Free Comic Book Day book being printed quite heavily, right? Especially one like this, The House of Slaughter, being as big as it is, being as big as Something Is Killed and the Children is. I don't think they're going to slouch on the print run. I'm playing the waiting game on that. I would love to have a handful of copies to add to my whatnot as giveaways. That would be super cool. And I missed the boat on the Basilisk second print, so I didn't even get to see the preview, and I'm definitely not paying current asking prices for that. I may be shooting myself in the foot with that, but in the end, I can't get everything. I can't buy everything. I'll never be able to sustain that. But the fact that they're expanding this world gives me more faith in Something Is Killing the Children and Boom Studios and the release of House of Slaughter. I was hopefully, fingers crossed, the first person at my LCS quite some time ago to say order all copies, all covers, all printings. This will be the release that makes me drop Berserker. It makes me drop a Star Wars. It makes me drop something else because there's only so many titles that I can pick up all covers, all copies every month. That's costing me like $200 on a Wednesday. House of Slaughter is going to be one of those ones that shoves something else out of the way, pretty much. So I need
that El Beardo pool list money, man.
The center cover here. Let's talk about this. That center cover, that is an amazing homage to Nice House on the Lake there. I'm digging that.
That's the one, man. That's the one.
So I got to sign up for this Patreon for 616 right now. You guys keep going.
Yeah. So Andy, listen, man, I'll send you some free New Comic Book Day stuff so you have it for giveaway on Whatnot.
You don't have to do that, man.
No, I definitely will. I got a bunch coming in. I'll send you some for your Whatnot sales. No worries at all, man. Just hit me up.
I won't sell them. Those will be not donated, but those will be giveaways.
Giveaways. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, definitely. No worries.
Nice.
I still got to sign up for your Patreon. I'm kicking myself for not signing up for your Patreon months ago when we talked about it. And it's like, I'll get there. And now you're telling me the top tier sold out. And I'm like, uh-oh. I'm going to have to somebody here.
And he likes to do that shit. He's like, yeah, I'll buy it. And then once it sells out, and he acts like, he's a victim.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
I'm just giving a hard time. But speaking of Andy, right? We got Comic-Con at home coming up this week. And this is no big surprise to me, right? Because we got Marvel Studios and DC saying they're going to skip Comic-Con at home. To me, Comic-Con at home is not even really a big event. We know Marvel and DC have their own thing, right, Andy?
Yeah. So not surprising at all that they do this move and they pull out, right? There's a light at the end of the tunnel with current world situations, and they have a moment where they either have to make a decision. They either have to hit the brakes or hit the gas, one or the other. So they decided to pull out of this. I get that. And I mean, you got to, from their perspective, I completely understand that, because what type of buyer are you attempting to attract? That's a much smaller market there than what they could be putting their money into now, depending on how things shake out. So I definitely get it, but it is kind of sad that they're not going to be doing it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but I also think that, they're doing virtual, and then they're planning on something in November, like almost like a mini San Diego Comic-Con, right? So hopefully at that point you'll get that traditional Hall H experience. But you see it more and more with, Disney and D23 doing a lot of Disney plus Marvel stuff, and then you're seeing, and DC Fandom, they even talk about in that article. It's like it's kind of like similar with Comic-Con, that you're also seeing, if you're a video game person, E3 has kind of done the same thing, where you have Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft almost doing their own thing and not part of E3 anymore. But John, what do you think
about them pulling out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, these are mega corporations. I'm not sure that the people that are in charge of making these decisions really have their finger on the pulse of our micro community, because we're really like a subculture. Like comic book nerds like us are very I don't even know what you would call it. It's less than a subculture, I would say. Like it's such a small, tiny, like it is almost like an extended family. You know what I mean? And I just don't think that they really the people in charge of making those decisions really have their finger on the pulse. Like they're more looking at it as a corporate decision, like some type of administrative function that they have to perform. So, I mean, I'm not that interested in online cons anyway. I am going to be at Terrificon, like we were talking about earlier, but we're not even going to have a table. We're just going to be walking around. My wife and I will be wearing these shirts, so if anybody's there,
walk around like a family reunion at amusement parks with a big old banner 616.
Yeah, like we're going to visit, like our partners, Comics Elite, have a table there. We're going to be at that table for a little bit, helping them out and stuff like that. But yeah, for the most part, we're just going for the experience. Because my wife was like, "Do you want to get a table?" And I said, "I just want to be there." Like for me, it's about being there. The online experience, like we were all dealing with COVID. That was the best you could do. I thought it sucked. I didn't like any of the online stuff. I mean, it's something to do. Don't get me wrong. But if you can have an in-person con, and like we're all fully vaccinated, my wife and I, so I just can't wait to go and hang out and talk to people and talk about comics. I mean, it's hard to do that, like we're doing it now online, but totally different experience at a in-person con.
Yeah, and we're all actually in the same room right now. We just decided to do this online.
Yeah. It's a gigantic room.
Yeah.
I get it though. I feel like at the very beginning, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket and make this massive investment to grow something that's never happened before, all these online conventions, and put all that time and effort and money and hire people and create positions for this thing for it to bottom out. And it didn't. And they decided not to capitalize on that. And then a lot of people they're at that gateway where, do you go one way or do you go the other? And as things are right now, I understand why they're not attempting to put more time and effort into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Dang comics. What was it, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think the reason they're all going on their own is because it's really corporations trying to carefully curate their marketing, like, and have total control over their marketing, have no leaks, and control the narrative of where their projects are going. I think that's like what Disney did, so that they can usher out bad films, and no one really noticed until it was like too late, because they controlled it so hardcore. And but I think these companies are underestimating the fan base and how, like, we kind of kept comics alive, and we kind of kept them alive until they got cool enough to even make into films, in a sense. And coming to a con, like, builds that human connection to the projects, which is like, I think it's a missed opportunity that they're not realizing the cost ultimately, because I think the fan community has a lot more weight than they're assuming right now. And that we yeah, we will help them sustain when the movies stop doing as well too, because like that's gonna happen eventually, and
Yeah.
they need us again. So it's best they, I don't know. That's maybe I'm biased, but
Yeah, I see your point, but I also see them also, like you said, keeping creative control where it's like, why do something online through San Diego Comic-Con when we're going to do our own online DC fan event or Marvel Disney fan event and do it online and have own creative control of how we market it and put it out.
but it's so sterile. That's the problem with these like completely curated events. Like there's no fun little leaks and like speculation just based on like how actors are just like chatting and they say something and everyone's like going wild and it's just like there's so much joy going on. But these curated events, it's so sterile and everyone's pretending they're having a good time and it's just not the same. And I think there's gonna be blowback.
Oh, we got Attack Peter in the house. Love
Hey,
that
Peter.
guy. If you guys haven't checked out his stuff, make sure you check out Attack Peter on YouTube, Instagram. Huge Skybound collab. That guy's got some crazy art. One of the most fun interviews I had was with Peter Santamaria. So thanks for joining us. Andy Tomberlin. L. Tomberlin. We got two Andys here. What do you think about Marvel and DC pulling out of Comic-Con at home? Do they just not want Marvel DC babies or what?
Yeah. Yeah. First off, that for sure.
There it is.
But yeah, I'm kind of with John on this. I think maybe they see it as a whole, as these online Comic Cons have not done well. They want no part of it. So I don't know, man. I'm an indie guy anyway, so they can pound sand. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think it's because of the experience of the Comic-Con at home not going over well is what is the driving force behind this. I'd be interested to know if they did put it on this year in person, would they have gone then, or would they be branching off and doing their own thing, like the sterile environment?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to if in person is so much better that Hall H, it's like synonymous with Comic-Con with those big talks. And we covered on this channel last year that Comic-Con at home. And even in that article, if you read that Bleeding Cool article, a lot of those panels were like duds. It seemed like, hey, you had time to pre-record, but the presentation wasn't exactly there. One of the best panels last year was Funko, and then Boom did a great panel. And I think people have had some lessons learned from that, and hopefully we'll carry it over to here. But one of the best online cons that I have seen, I won't even call it a con, but Skybound Expo had an expo this past weekend, and a lot of their programming. I'm not a big guy that likes to sit there and watch online panels all day long, but I found myself in there watching, Robert Kirkman talking to Robert Liefeld. I saw Attack Peters in the stream right now, and they're sponsored. They made me want to go out and buy freaking ramen noodles because they look delicious watching them all eat it. But there's some great panels on there. And Comics Vault Live, they had that Attack Peter Invincible variant. They had that that Clementine cover. People are sleeping on those Clementine covers because there's a young teen graphic novel that they're building it around. There's supposed to be a lot of programming behind that Telltale game Clementine character that's in the works from the rumors I've heard. But we'll wait and see how at home Comic-Con goes this year. But I will say this as well. I've given the bad about it, what I don't like, but I also think a lot of those San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, right? The Funkos, the comics, all that has been more accessible because they're selling them online instead of having to lottery, raffle, wait in line, all this other stuff to try to get your hands on. One that's always hard for me to get, takes forever, are those Toy Tokyo Masters of the Universe pops that come out all the time. But I found a site. I'm waiting for them to be announced so I can go on there and get my Funkos and my San Diego Comic-Con Kanto exclusive.
Yeah, I like that cover for sure.
Yeah, that never-ending story homage.
Yep. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
But
All
Tom,
right, so
yeah, we got a movie coming too, right?
Yeah, August the 6th, right? I'm pretty sure. But new footage did come out of the Task Force X. So I'll have to say this is definitely probably the most I've wanted to see a DC movie. So we'll see what happens. I think there's going to be a lot of killing in the first 10 minutes.
There was like an article for James Gunn talking about how he decided who he was going to kill off or something. I didn't read it, but I saw an article about that as well.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that either, but I'll definitely check that out. But I mean, what do you guys think, John? What do you think about this one?
Oh, I'll be there with my family. Yeah, I'm dying. I'll watch anything. I'll watch anything James Gunn puts out. You know, I was really disappointed when everything happened with him with, I guess, Disney. You know, and he got booted out temporarily, and then they brought him back in later. He got like temporarily canceled or whatever. And then I think Disney had a little FOMO because they saw him over at Warner Brothers producing this. And man, they brought him back in. They forgot about those old tweets really fast. And I was like, well, here you go. But yeah, like I love Idris Elba. My wife loves Idris Elba. I think John Cena is exactly in his lane. I think Harley Quinn is going to be directed to perfection. You know, the Birds of Prey movie really left a lot to be desired. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it either. I just feel like everybody's going to be, because James Gunn is such a comic nerd like us, like I feel like everyone's going to be in character. It's going to be true to the spirit of the comics, because I think the MCU does that really well. They're very true to the spirit for the most part of the characters in the comics, even though they might make some changes. And I just feel like this is going to knock it out of the park. First reactions I'm seeing online are phenomenal. So I'm definitely going to see it. I'm not an opening weekend guy. I'll probably go Monday night when it's a little bit, less crowded. But yeah, I can't wait for that. Can't wait.
It's got to be better than the first one, unless the director's cut is as good as they say it is. But the first one was like DC Suicide Squad Ghostbusters, where they like took on Zool at the top of the building at the end.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah.
And the part is like everything they did, like any other character could have most likely done. Why did they have to assemble this team to take care of what they took care of? But
yeah, and you got Starro in this. I mean, how are you going to pass up a Starro on-screen appearance in the theater? Like, this was unthinkable. I try to explain this to my kids because I have 4 kids. They're 19 down to 11. None of them, like when I was younger, I was ridiculed for reading comics. I started reading comics in 1982 and collecting in 1982. And I've been ridiculed my whole life throughout regular, like pre-middle school, middle school, and high school. And I was just relentlessly made fun of for collecting comics. So I would have never thought, I'm going to go watch a blockbuster movie and Starro is going to be the main villain. That's just mind-blowing.
It reminds me of old school Barbara Mandrell, the country singer. She was country before country was cool. We were comics before comics were cool, man.
It's true. That is true, man, for sure.
That is 100% true. And it's got to be better than Birds of Prey, is all I can say. Alberto, what are you thinking on this one?
I'm not excited, but the more I hear you guys talk about it, the more I'm like, okay, I'll move my position from watch it at home streaming to I'll go see it on an opening weekend or that first week. The more I hear you guys talking about it, the more it's like, okay, maybe I don't want to miss out on this. And we saw our first movie last weekend, the first one in almost 2 years since like I need to get back into the movie theater again. So August 6th is just around the corner. I'm looking forward to getting back to there.
Yeah. You can watch it on HBO Max too if you wanted to.
Maybe after the fact.
Yeah. Dan, what you thinking, man?
Yeah, well, I mean, DC is like so much. They're more like miss than hit, when it comes to hit or miss. So, like they already messed up the first one, so everyone kind of has low expectations, and we're like, they gotta have a hit, right? Like it's gotta happen. So I think a lot of people are just like, maybe this is it, Like with Marvel, like we're kind of waiting for them to miss, because they've been hitting so much. But with DC, it's almost the opposite. So we're just kind of like, maybe this will be good.
I think with James Gunn, you're gonna have a head on your hands. The only variable there is what you hear a lot of times is how much did WB executives put their hand in the pot with the final cut of the film. On that note, I also saw another headline for an article that James Gunn, working both Marvel and DC now, has said that Kevin Feige has more is more hands-on in the actual editing than DC or Warner Brothers is. So,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
also Warner Brothers doesn't have a Feige.
No.
and Feige replaces people like fast, you know. He replaces people fast, and you don't hear a lot of talk about it, a lot of drama about it. But he does it like more than Star Wars did, more than any of the franchises. He does it like where no one even knew it happened. Like you didn't even know like these other directors did. So, you know, I think people know what they're getting into when they work with him.
I think we got a happy coincidence. I don't know if anyone here is wrestling fans as well, but we just saw Money in the Bank. You know, WWE's program is just straight almost terrible right now. So they reach back into that talent pool, and usually anytime they need someone, they call on Goldberg or Undertaker. But they reached back further, and they brought back Mr. Cena himself into Money in the Bank coming up in SummerSlam. Is that a happy coincidence? You know, just get John Cena everywhere, and then we got John Cena in Suicide Squad. John Cena's getting his own standalone. John Cena, we've even mentioned it before on this channel. Jack had brought it up. You know, Bumblebee. You know, is that going to tie over into Mask? Who knows? But it's kind of a happy coincidence that doesn't hurt DC Comics or that movie. But like you said, there's a whole star-studded cast in there. You say Idris Elba. He'll always be Stringer Bell to me, of course.
Yeah, John Cena, he's trying to be the White Rock.
Right. I was just thinking that the other day, right? Yeah, like it's interesting. Like I feel I was saying this the other day on our Whatnot live stream. Plug out for Whatnot, by the way. I feel like we need to be ambassadors for comic books, and that kind of transcends comic books itself. I think for the culture, I think we need to be ambassadors. Like I was telling people that they need to go out and buy the third printing of Nice House on the Lake #1 and give it to their friend at work or their neighbor who just really digs really cool horror, thriller, psychological thriller type stuff or sci-fi. Just give it to them, right? Because that third printing, I mean, that may or may not hit eventually. Like Andy might know better than me. Yeah, like just buy that book and give it to people you know. Just go buy 10 of them, give it to family members at barbecues over the summer. Be an ambassador for the comic book community. Get people into comic books. You know, I try to get all my kids into comic books, and I've hit 1 out of 4. You know what I mean? So that ain't too bad. It's a 250 batting average. But the other 3 of my kids give 2 shits about comics, but my one daughter really likes comics a lot. So I feel like if we did that, if we were like evangelists or ambassadors for comic book movies, even my wife was like, I don't want to watch this Suicide Squad. The first movie sucked. And I was like, James Gunn's doing it. And she's like, oh, didn't he do Guardians? I went, yeah. And she went, I'm in. So I feel like that's what we need to be telling people at work and our neighbors, like, hey, did you like Guardians? Yeah. Go watch the Suicide Squad movie, right? So just, I'm always trying to get people into the orbit of the comic book culture in general, whether it's film, because I feel like if you can get people into the films, then maybe they'll start buying trade paperbacks. Maybe they'll start buying weeklies. Who knows, you know?
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one movie I definitely want to see in the theater, though, even though I have HBO Max. Space Jam, I was happy to watch on TV. Not go to the theater. My kids love that movie, and I think it was kind of tied to that kids demographic. But like I said, I'm also biased. Michael Jordan is my Space Jam. Of course, that's my era. That's a whole nother argument in itself, I think, outside of comic books. But yeah, and like I said, it's going to be premiering on HBO Max and in theaters August 6th. Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. You know, you guys plan to see it. Who do you think makes it to the end of the movie? Right? Because they have to kill off some people.
Peacemaker.
I also want to say this in general, but we've said it here on this show a couple times, but I think a lot of people are sleeping on DC Comics right now. I think everyone's paying so much attention to Marvel, and I think there's a lot of gold in them there hills between those DC books that people, just because the attention's not on it. Yes, the movies might not be the best right now. There's some good ones in there, but Shazam was great. But comics, there's more to the comics than just the movies themselves. I'm excited for the Green Lantern, if we're talking about media coming up, the Green Lantern Corps, the Green Lantern show. But I think there's a lot of DC keys between even Silver Age, Bronze Age, Copper that you could get right now for a really good price while all this attention is being paid attention to the Marvel keys and Kang. Just leave it at Kang because everyone is super happy about Kang right now. While I would say it's skate where the puck isn't. While everyone's paying attention to that, go pick up some of those DC keys. They're not cheap, but they're not as expensive as they will be when that attention flips back over to it.
Dude, seriously, modern age DC keys. First, Yara Flores sat on the shelf for 6 weeks longer than any Marvel or indie.
Far Sector's another one.
Far Sector. I mean, like that's a whole nother skating where the puck isn't is exactly right there. Like seriously.
Great point.
But speaking of comics, tomorrow is New Comic Book Day, or today for DC Comics. But like we always do, we're going to go around and each person's going to give their pick for New Comic Book Day tomorrow, whether it's reader pick, art pick, whatever it is from you as a collector. What book are you most excited for tomorrow? John, the retailer in you, what book do you have that maybe you didn't order from as a retailer that you wish you had? Or if you did order, what are you most excited about?
This is so biased, but I'm going to say Moon Knight. Yeah, and I'm not just saying that because we have an exclusive for it. A Terrificon exclusive, by the way. But yeah, I'm just very excited to see what this Moon Knight's all about. I on purpose didn't read a lot of the solicits for it, or any of the solicitation for it. So I'm super excited for that. I looked over what was releasing this week, and it is kind of a light week in general. There's not a whole lot on there, but yeah, so for me, it's Moon Knight all day long.
Yeah.
Oh,
new character in that book too, right?
I don't know. Is there?
I heard. I read the solicits.
Yeah, I just knew I wanted to do an exclusive for it as soon as I was like Moon Knight. Oh God, we did. Yeah,
I will say the Sienkiewicz cover in there. His Moon Knight covers are normally like, holy crap. I wasn't as wowed by his cover for this one. In fact, to be honest, when I covered it in FOC, I was like, I don't know if there's a Sienkiewicz cover. And then everyone's like, yeah, there is. It's that one. I was like, man, it doesn't even look like his normal Moon Knight covers.
correct.
No.
Yeah,
Him and Finch are tough to beat on Moon Knight. Usually.
yeah, and I think the cover A. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's a McNiven. So his style is similar to like a Finch, like that highly detailed, like that ink work is just gorgeous. I'm a sucker for Art Adams, David Finch, McNiven. Like I love their stuff, man. I'm a huge sucker for anything that they do.
Yeah.
Oh, Beardo, what are you picking up tomorrow? What are you getting every cover, every company?
So yeah, I've got a complaint there in that department. I am now excited about Moon Knight because I forgot it was going to be out tomorrow. But my first pick going down is going to be Time Before Time #3 from Image. So we're at the 3rd issue. This is when they need to shit or get off the pot in a story arc. Are they going to deliver, or are people going to start dropping the book? So I'm very interested to see what happens here. I'm hoping there's going to be Moon Knight books left on the shelf when I can get to the LCS now, because I forgot that was this week. I got one complaint about New Comic Book Day. I'm starting to feel like I'm getting fleeced by Marvel because this Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters Jabba the Hutt. Like there's like 6 covers coming out tomorrow, or no, 1, 2, 3, 4 covers coming out tomorrow. That's over $100 they're asking right now for those 4 covers as a set. And if you look at those covers, I feel like I'm getting fleeced.
Dang. Well, I guess you're gonna have to do a sick day and just go when they open, right? Just calling a sick day.
Oh, there is an Image book coming out tomorrow, Mother of Madness, that Amelia Clark book.
Oh man.
Yep.
I didn't order that, so I'm just going to have to go to. I have a couple LCSs here that I go to. I'm going to definitely pick that up.
John, that could have been someone's pick, and you just ruined it.
Sorry,
It was almost mine.
So you're gonna tell your wife you're sick tomorrow.
Yeah.
Dan, what are you looking forward to tomorrow?
I think the Many Deaths of Layla Starr #4. I think because for me at least, I find each issue is very self-contained and each issue is brilliantly done. So I'm like, can he really keep this up? Is this 4th issue? Is he gonna just keep doing this? Is this gonna be one of those legendary series? Is this what we're seeing? Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
Indie Spotlight.
All right, I'm a Mad Cave homer, so Nottingham 5 closes it out. Gotta check that one out. That'll be the first one I try to read. And in honor of Tony, I'll pick 2. So Star Wars High Republic Adventures #6. That one, I think that one will be good too. Some first appearances supposedly in that one as well.
So mine's a cover art pick mostly. Jeff Deckel. Love Jeff Deckel cover art.
Awesome.
Deadly Class number 47 has like a regular price cover that is just absolutely gorgeous from him. And regular price, I'll pick that up every day.
Yeah.
And Deadly Class, I think, is a great series. I mean, the show is good, but anything that comes on Sci-Fi just dies. Nightwing, Cantankerous, like he's saying, Tom Taylor is crushing it on Nightwing. 7 Secrets is probably one of my favorite series to read right now from Tom Taylor. Skybound X is another one that I just kind of mentioned. Those series, they're putting a lot of teaser characters within the Skybound X series. So I don't know if they're going to flesh those out more in later series or not, but those are books to pay attention to as well. And you mentioned Death of Layla Starr. That was one of those books that the issue comes out this Wednesday. FOC for issue 5 was last night before issue 4 comes out. And Ram V, if I'm saying that correctly, is doing an awesome job writing on that as well.
Yep.
I guess
call.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, just gonna say no. Are we all getting Dark Blood issue 1 though? Like,
Yeah.
Are we all FOMO buying that?
Yeah.
We don't know.
I think that one might be good too.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah.
I like picking books like those up that are written by someone, a screenwriter or something that gives you a little bit different value out of it. I mean, there's a lot of attention that goes to those. And that was another book that the second print just FOC before.
Yeah, that was
last night as well.
Screenwriter for The Walking Dead and Wasteland, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one's got a shot.
Yeah.
When you see him coming out
Austin's on my team. 7 Secrets. An awesome series. I'm telling you right now. I think there's a lot of full disclosure. I'm a Boom homer. I say it all the time on this channel, but I think they have a lot of series right now that aren't not being paid attention to. They're just kind of overshadowed by some of the bigger Something is Killing the Children. But Once and Future, 7 Secrets, we only find them when they're dead. Red Mother, all those have been great. So it's almost like, hey, what's the next one that's going to come out? And it's like you almost have a good problem where you have so many great series, right? So it's are you cannibalizing from each other?
Yeah, Boom has a tremendous problem on their hands right now. I actually think Eat the Rich looks really good too. That's coming out. And I'm not just saying that because we have we decided to do a variant for it, but I think Brian, you're exactly right. Like 7 Secrets, Austin mentioned that as well in the chat. There's so much that Boom is putting out that's creator owned. That's just absolutely phenomenal. There's an Image book coming out called Primordial by Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that, man. We have Ken Lashley doing a variant. But like soon as I saw that solicit, I was like, my God, we have to do a variant for this. I cannot wait for that.
Yep, same creative team from Gideon Falls. So it's going to be a roller coaster
all day long.
It's a miniseries.
1,000 copies of that. Like that's just a wonderful creative team. If they wrote a children's book, I would buy it. If they wrote a phone book, I would buy it. Like it was just they're just amazing.
Cookbook. I would get their cookbook.
Yeah, exactly. But listen, like Gideon Falls, that's another one. Like if people that you know in your orbit that aren't into comics, buy the friggin' first trade of Gideon Falls and give it to them.
Yep.
Image trades are so friggin' cheap anyway. Just go get it, give it to your neighbor, and say, "Hey, man, check this out. I know you like some crazy sci-fi shit. Check this out. Guaranteed they'll like it." If they don't like it, you should stop being friends with them because they're stop being friends with them.
The food in their cookbook would be depressing but beautifully rendered.
Yes, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's hilarious.
So that's only going to leave us with what, Andy? One more thing. All right, one more thing. This is the time where we go around to each panelist. Each panelist is going to tell you that one last thing they want to tell you guys before we end the stream tonight, whether it's they're going to plug their channel. If you aren't plugging their channel, make sure you guys, all the show notes, the description has links to all the YouTube videos, all the YouTube channels that for each panelist, the websites, the Instagram. So make sure you guys check those out. But one more thing, Alberto, let's start with you.
I'm going to have to kick it to John. Or do you want to go to John last?
I'm going to John last, or I would have called John first.
Last? I got one more thing. This is perfect while John's here, actually. I started writing my first comic book ever. And I can't wait to pitch this to John, man. It's a comic book called 50 Shades of Gravy.
Oh,
it's bound to be saucy.
You son of a bitch.
Got me.
I was excited. You got me.
Got me too, man.
It's bound to be saucy. All right. One more thing. Slabaganza giveaway on the Comic Man Andy YouTube channel is still live. We're still on the road to 1,000 subscribers. There are 8 slabs stacked up, ready to give away for that. Follow me on the Whatnot app, and you guys know where I'm at on IG at Comic Man Andy.
Saucy. What's going on at Dank Comics?
All right. Well,
going on at Dank Comics if you want to talk about something else.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna release this meditation video where I just basically I go over the Wim Hof meditation technique. It's like a under 10-minute technique, and it's for people that hate meditation, don't know meditation, don't like meditation, and basically you let your
Hasselhoff?
Wim Hof.
Hasselhoff?
And you can look him up. It's all free, all this stuff, but it lets your body calm your mind. So a lot of meditation, they try to get your mind to calm your body. This one, it's really fast. It involves heavy breathing, and it lets your body calm the mind instead. And it's very different. And it just helps you like separate from the thoughts and just watch them instead of ride them all the time, because you're not your thoughts.
Nice, man. That's nice.
Yeah, and I wear a Jedi outfit while I'm doing it, actually.
Really?
Yeah,
That's even better.
We talk to you during the meditation. Like I try to make it kind of fun.
I love that.
Badass.
That's great. That's
So you've
great.
got some Jedi experience then. I mean,
Yeah. From Master Wim Hof in the Eartha sector. He's been spreading it all over.
dude, do you know then what program Jedis use to open all their training manuals?
Oh no. You don't got me this time. What is it?
It's Adobe Juan Kenobi.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
The guy's got too much free time on his hands.
Oh my God. Where do you come up with this, man? Where do you get this?
You should have heard the groan from upstairs. She's watching.
That's terrible.
She's like, ugh.
That's terrible.
What's going on at the Indie Spotlight?
I don't even know how to follow that up. Like I really don't. Make sure you head over to Keep It Thorough Comics right after this and catch the Indie Spotlight series show that they do, where they take the CBS article and go through it. Good guys. They put an extra little spin on it, so make sure and check them out, and also check out CBSI, the article, Indie Spotlight series, and Tales from the Flip Side Modern Playbook, the Prospect 10 list that goes to the Key Collector app.
Yeah, when he says CBSI, check out comicbookinvest.com for that article, right?
Yes, right. Thank you.
John, we saved this for the end. Before you get into it, I do want to say Burke's Family 54 Comics, who was in the chat earlier, he did an awesome reveal for this. I shared that video in the community, shared it on Instagram as well. But you talked to Moon Knight earlier. You talked Terrificon. You actually have a Terrificon variant for Moon Knight, right?
I do. I feel like I gave birth with this comic. I tried to get this.
Whoa.
So you weren't like Marvel and DC Comics?
That's
at San
intense.
Like this was something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And as soon as the Marvel made the announcement about Moon Knight #1, I knew I wanted to get this done. So I sent Marvel a concept, and it just took, it took forever. It took so long to get this done. And then we ended up with Ken Lashley. I couldn't be happier with the artist on this. And it's a Werewolf by Night homage of Moon Knight's first appearance. And It's a Terrificon exclusive on top of that. So for me, it just hits all over. We worked with Marvel to try to get that original trade dress, the word balloons, all in the same type of vein as the original. So we're doing a micro launch tomorrow night, July 21st at 9 p.m. At the 616comics.com. Very, very, very limited amount of sets there. And then we will be selling them live. So we're going to shut it down. We're likely going to sell out the micro launch tomorrow because, again, it's a very limited micro launch. Then we're going to go live at the convention, Terrificon in Connecticut. We will be there. We'll be at Comics Elite's table, my wife Erica and I, who's my business partner here. And we're also going to go live on Whatnot from the con. So check us out on Whatnot as well, the 616 Comics. On Instagram, we are the.616comics. But yeah, like I couldn't be happier with this set. We hooked in with Ken Lashley while we were doing this, and we do have a Primordial variant coming out with him. Couldn't be happier to hook in with him. Super nice guy. Just one of my favorite artists. Whenever we hook in with a new artist, it's just so exciting. And this, I absolutely couldn't ask for a better homage. Like, this is absolutely, I'm just ecstatic about it. So there's not much more. There's not much more I can say.
Yeah, it's always great when you can see the homage and know what it is.
That's the key with an homage, because a lot of people, and you know, I'm guilty of this to an extent too. People will do an homage cover, and I'll find out like months later. I just found out earlier today on an Instagram post that something was an homage of something else. I'm not going to shout out or give a call out to what it was, but I was like, oh damn, that is that. Like, that's a cool cover, but I had no idea it was an homage of something else. So I think if you're trying to put a concept together for an homage, you definitely have to make it recognizable as soon as the eyeballs hit it. Like, you know exactly what that is.
You got to make it recognizable from that. It looks like what it's supposed to be. And then you also got to pick an homage that people are going to know what the original was to know that it's an homage too.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, exactly. So we're just absolutely ecstatic to work with Ken Lashley going forward. So
I wasn't sure if that was a homage, so I was wondering, like, why is Werewolf by Night and Moon Knight? Why are they beefing now? I thought they got over that. Like, what's going on?
So supposedly they have a lot of. I've heard that Marvel's got a lot of stuff coming up for Werewolf by Night.
I think they're beefing over the word night. You know.
Oh yeah.
I think that's why they have a frenemies situation going on.
That's a phenomenal fan theory right there. I love it.
So I just got a couple announcements. I am actually making my debut on Whatnot myself this coming Thursday night, two days from tonight, Thursday, 10 p.m. So check me out on Whatnot. You can follow me there. It's Simplemans_comics. Just search for Simplemans Comics. Got some stuff. I got some great stuff going up there. So we're gonna start them at dollar auctions. Stray Dogs, one that people's talking about. That Kanto 2 Holloman, that 1 in 10, another homage, right? Ninja Turtles, Ben Bishop.
Great cover.
Some Miss Marvel goodness. And then we got that Eternals movie coming up. So that's just a small sample size. I'm even going to have some of those 616 Simple Man's Comics exclusives going on there. Maybe some Department of Truth, maybe some Last Ronin. So again, this Thursday, 10 p.m. on Whatnot, my debut. So I'm sure it'll be super sloppy and lessons learned from all of it, but I'm excited to dive into that. So I'll be sharing some more information on that within probably tomorrow on social, and Patreon members, those great 616 Comics books, the Patreon boxes, that bounty box will be getting mailed out this weekend as well. So I'm glutton for punishment. I'm going to sell on Whatnot. I'm going to pack a bunch of Patreon boxes. I'm going to be cussing my whole way through it while I'm packing and shipping, but I'm excited to do it.
Yeah, that is exciting. Listen, it is, you know, you guys all know this, right? Like, it's exciting when you know that people are excited to get something from you. It's actually exciting to package that up, you know, safely and ship that out. Like, I love doing that. My kids, my wife, my mom, everybody helps in our business to do that. And, you know, the main thing that I try to communicate is someone on the receiving end of this can't wait to get it. Keep that in mind while you're packaging it.
Yep.
Yeah, and it makes it worth it taking that extra time to pack it with much protection. I usually try to pack as if I was the one receiving it.
Yeah.
Right.
Every now and then, you know, you can't. The mail is the mail. I mean, we got John with the pallet of comics sitting at a Walmart in Michigan somewhere, but.
That is true. So if people are waiting for certain variants from me, yeah, it's out of my control. I've been on the phone for hours the last couple of days trying to find some missing books, and I did get a call back. We were talking about this before we went live. The freight company thinks my pallet is at a Walmart in Michigan. So just so everyone knows, I'm near Philly, and I'm not Walmart. So there you go.
Yeah.
So for anybody on Whatnot that has purchased from me and has seen my packaging method and has rated my packaging method, that guy over there, the good old Brian, who is taught, he's the person that taught me how to package and ship comic books the way I want them sent out. So you guys are gonna get the best packing method when it comes with Brian.
Awesome. Appreciate that, and I also appreciate everyone that's in the chat. Appreciate anyone that's watching this video on the replay. As always, every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. right here on Simple Man's Comics. We got all these great panelists. John, I hope you'll come back again. It's great having you on the show. Again, check him out at the616comics.com. And he also, we didn't even say this. We didn't mention this because we have website authors and we have YouTube. So in order for John to come on this show, he had to actually create a YouTube channel. I'm making that up just because it's coincidence, but there was a silent launch of the 616 Comics YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, so that's my wife's passion project. My wife has a degree in marketing, and she's just absolutely phenomenal at it. And she's been dying to do more video content for us. And I'm just so swamped with, shipping and dealing with, our regular order flow and answering customers. I try to stay daily on all that. So she's going to start basically like a vlog. It's not going to be like a traditional channel, but we want to give people an inside look to the business. And when we go to cons, we're going to give all kinds of inside scoops at the cons and things like that. So it's going to be more of a vlog and not so much like a show. We're not really going to do a show. It's just going to be like stream of consciousness, almost like Gary Vee type stuff.
Stream of consciousness. Here's Ulysses all over the place.
Right.
Like
so,
Casey Neistat.
Yeah, Casey Neistat, the comic retailer side. And I also want to give a shout out in this chat right now, Cantankerous with that $10 super chat. I meant to give him a shout out last week. Long time, old school Patreon member there. Great to see him back in the chat. Awesome. I think he took a little break from comics. Hope he's coming back. And it's a perfect time to come back, Cantankerous, because you can go to Baltimore Comic-Con and we can relive those good old days where we didn't know where people disappeared to, and then no one can go to the con the next day because they're just hungover.
I know I still owe an A-OK to Cantankerous. I've been waiting for him to pop up to find him again.
John, are you going to Baltimore? Putting you on the spot.
Yeah, well, I'll be there.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot of people going. I keep telling, I'm bringing the wife this year. I keep telling her that it's going to be like our wedding day all over again, where it's just so many people, so little time. Oh, I only talked to that person for a few seconds, but either way, I'm excited. It's going to be a great time. Baltimore's always a great con, especially if you're a comic fan, because it's a comic con.
Wow, you had a comic themed wedding?
No.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be just like our wedding. If I had a comic themed wedding, I probably wouldn't be married. But yeah, either way, great show tonight. Again, thanks for everyone that watched. I appreciate it so much.
Absolutely.
Peace.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Good night.
She pull up, hop out, then she swerve. Do your two-step, your little catwalk, make it work. Make it work, do your dance, make it work. Strike